We're talking push trucks, PA posse, really big right rear wheels, and racing on dirt. From Silver Dollar to Williams Grove, Eldora to Devil's Bowl, and of course, Knoxville. This is Winged Nation, presented by Hercules Tires. Now your hosts, Steve Post and Erin Evernham.
Hello again. It is MRN Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires. So glad you joined us. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week. Erin Evernham, Steve Post, and do we have a lot of ground to cover.
Talk about.
Oh my gosh, Saturday night I think the Twitter machine was going to blow up.
Seriously.
It was crazy. It was insane. So we'll get into that. We're going to be joined later on the program by Doug Stringer to talk about Jason Leffler.
Yep.
Really, really cool. And what Doug has got going on, the Jason Leffler Memorial Race. Dale Blaney going to join us, getting ready for Ohio Speed Weekend. Well, part of the Saturday night Twitter fun was Danny Dietrich. And Danny joins us as well with his opinion on what's going on in the world. So looking forward to it. It is a great show. We are glad you joined us here on the Motor Racing Network. Erin, really the news, we'll get into Saturday night, but really the end of last week, the National Sprint League announcing that they're ceasing operations of their 360 tour was a big news.
Yeah, definitely a big piece of news.
You know, and what had happened is that they kind of had gone head to, not more than kind of, they were going head to head with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. And so we had dueling interest in the 360 world. And, you know, a lot of times this works and a lot of times it doesn't work.
Well, with the 360s, it seems like there's not enough teams that are funded enough to spend a lot to go on a national tour. So to have two competing 360 national tours was a little tough.
Indeed it was, and then some of the regions were really drastically affected by this. So, but what happens with it, the good news is, kind of comes out of this, is that now the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour will continue on. They're in their 25th season, by the way, which doesn't seem possible. And they will continue on, and they actually gain a date because they've been invited to be part of the Jackson Nationals weekend.
I'm sure it was probably different behind closed doors, but it made it, the press release made it sound like everything went out pretty smooth. I like that.
Yeah, Todd Quering had a conversation with Emmett Hahn, and they just decided, Todd said, for the best interest of 360 racing, we're going to cease this. And they go, so it affects the national tour, or it adds, or it keeps from detracting, I guess, from the national tour. Adds a race. There's a region up in Montana that it really affects well, and I know we don't talk much about Montana sprint car racing, but there was a region up there that was very small ASCS region, and it had divided, and they've also announced that now it's back to one region with, I think, 20 races or something. So really good for everybody. So really good. Of course, ASCS $250,000 point fund this year, 20 races on MAV TV. So really cool. So that was really good news starting off the weekend, and then Saturday night happened.
And it went downhill.
Well, it did, exactly. Particularly if you were in the A-main at Knoxville, unless you were Donnie Schatz and whoever else was in front of it.
Yeah, if you started at third row or back, sorry.
Oh my gosh. I think there was a 11 or 12 car pileup, 5 cars upside down.
Yeah.
Insane.
It looked like Talladega style.
Yeah, exactly. The only reason they stopped wrecking is we ran out of cars. You know, I mean, it was nuts, and I've never seen anything like it. Ian Madsen came down the racetrack, clipped the front of Shane Stewart, who went into Brownie, and it was on from there, and then everyone just kind of piled in. Brownie got out. He wanted a piece of Shane Stewart.
Yeah,
Shane
didn't realize what really started the wreck.
Didn't really realize, and Brownie later on in the interview talked about it on the Dirt Vision interview. But, man, I'll tell you what. But then the thing that just kind of was really interesting was the work area.
It was like chaos.
There was
nose wings and top wings.
I'm like, someone's going to put the wrong wing on the wrong car. I mean, it was crazy.
A work area in a sprint car pit area is like, it's chaos as it is, even if there's 1 or 2 cars in there, because they're not accustomed to pit stops. It's always chaotic. And teams jump in to help each other, which is great, but sometimes it gets really confusing. So I can't imagine having 10 or 11 cars in there.
Well, yeah, because the guys you plan on jumping in and helping, they're working on their own car.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It was nuts. Absolutely nuts. Now, last week here on the program, we had a chance to sit down. Ashley, you and I had a chance to talk about it. And Kendra really worked hard. Kendra Jacobs, of course, the general manager of the sponsorship promotions out at Knoxville, worked hard on the rivalry. When we look at it, looks like things worked out fairly well. Winners, Midwest won, Outlaws won, Terry McCarl and Donnie Schatz. And we look at the top 5s, it was 5-5 for both nights.
Wow.
So pretty good. And we shared, you know, the way rivalries work is both sides have to win once in a while.
Yeah.
And so both sides did win. Now, I understand, and everyone wants to split hairs with Terry McCarl because he's a Badlands regular, but the reality of it is
No.
Terry's a Midwestern guy, and he's like fourth on the all-time He's Knoxville.
He's ran Knoxville weekly for years.
Yes, indeed. He's Knoxville. He scored one for the home crowd.
So when's the tiebreaker, I feel like?
Well, I guess the Knoxville Nationals. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We know how that goes every year. Man, oh, man. So, but it was good, and rivalry turned out well. They had so much fun watching some of the pictures from the just all the contests, all the fun stuff going on. Really, really fun.
Did we hear about the Dingus beer pong?
Did not hear much about the beer pong.
Yeah, we need an update on that.
Well, the beer pong was late at night. We did see a lot of the sumo wrestling pictures. There was a lot of that going on. So, sounds like everything went well, and they all survived. I actually sent a text on Monday to Kendra, and she's still in the upright position. She's ready to go this week again, so more power to her, but she did a great job with everything out there.
Absolutely.
Really, really cool. All right, okay, so whenever there's excitement and action in the sport, I'm telling you, it always comes back to Pennsylvania at some time.
There is a lot of controversy.
Because it's like, okay, I know you're having all your fun out there in Knoxville, or I know you're having fun at Chico, I know you're having this, but look what we're doing. And what they were doing is, I'm following on Twitter, and I'm following HotNet wins, $7,000, whoa. And then I'm reading about 30 seconds or 2 minutes later, the crowd is just raining boos upon him. And I'm like, what in the world happened? Okay, so finally, Ian Fanconi does video, and finally we were able to get a video of it. Falcone is, I guess Falcone is his name. He does a great job with the video work.
Yeah.
And Ian got a video of it from the inside of the track, which in some people's mind was conclusive, other people's weren't. So, but I said, hey, the good news is for all of us on Wing Nation, we've got a driver here.
Oh, boy. So yeah. I'm on the hot seat now.
Right, you're on the hot seat. No, I'm not. Okay, first and foremost, Greg and Lucas are big boys. They can handle this themselves. I'm not asking you about Greg and Lucas because whatever happened, they know what happened and everything else. But the whole debate was, well, he stuffed him and then, no, they didn't touch. My question to you as a driver is, does there have to be contact for it to be and I don't like the word dirty move because I think it's aggressive. Does there have to be contact for it to be a bad move?
Not in a sprint car,
right.
I don't think.
Exactly.
Some of you'll see if you watch an outlaw race or any of the Pennsylvania guys, like a lot of times if you get a run underneath them, the top guy, the outside guy will run you all the way down to the infield. Like there's a lot you can do as like dirty moves without making contact. I remember I was actually racing Steve Kinzer for the lead, which happened only like once or twice in my entire life. So, but he ran me. First time I tried to pass me, he ran me down in the infield. The second lap, I tried to go around the outside of him. He ran me up, and I got up just like Lucas did. Like didn't wreck the car, but got up. So I think in sprint car racing, no, and not even any form of racing, you don't have to have contact to be racing dirty.
Right, exactly. And Steve Kinzer, that high off from the turn low to the inside, that was a trademark.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. You're right about it. Okay, another question, and so wherever you fall on that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do the rules change on the last lap coming to the finish?
Of course they do.
See, there's the thing.
You know, I looked at the video, and all I've seen is video, so I don't really have a wonderful opinion of it. But my opinion was, all right, if I was Lucas Wolf, I'd be pissed. Yeah. If I was Greg Hodnett, I would have done the exact same thing. Like it was kind of an incident that you've seen a million times in sprint cars, and I've seen sliders go wrong where someone actually destroys the car on the outside, and that didn't happen. Lucas didn't have any damage. He maybe got into the wall a little bit,
slowed him down enough to
scraped up the
finish
bead lock.
second.
Yeah, exactly. So, in my opinion, it was a racing incident. I think we talked about this earlier. People are just upset because Hodnett's on a roll. He's the one to beat.
I think that's the other factor in it. I mean, we're not at the anyone but Kinzer stage.
No.
We may be getting close
to
the
damn you, Donnie.
Shot. We may be getting close to damn you, Donnie shots in Pennsylvania with Greg Hodnett. What every driver dreams of, by the way.
Heck no, Hodnett or something.
Heck no, Hodnett, exactly. Yeah, maybe that's it.
Hell no.
Yeah, well,
Make it a little bit,
a little bit more. Yeah, hell no, Hodnett. I don't know, but I think that factors into it because right now he's the driver to beat, and there is from fans and really among teams, there's a lot of frustration right now because that 27 car is rolling.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is. A final question on this topic is: when you're a race car driver and you have a dust up with somebody with another driver, how did you handle it, or how did you like it handled coming back to you? Or
well, it's a little different, obviously, being a female. I can't just go over there and punch someone. Although there were times, see, I have red hair and I have this really bad temper. Yeah. So usually I'm nice, calm, and cool and collected.
Wow.
Until someone really makes me mad. So there were definitely times that I went over and kind of try to get in a driver's face, which afterwards you look at it like that was probably not productive at all. But in the moment, I couldn't help myself. And I had some drivers actually kind of come after me, which was interesting because crew guys always, got in the way or defended me. But Yeah, I mean, you have to speak your mind, because if you aren't respected off the track, you're not going to be respected on the track. So you have to prove yourself, and you have to prove yourself as a racer outside the car too.
Yeah.
You can't be like weak, like, I remember I had Sammy come over right in my face one time. I had McCarl come into my trailer and actually grab the back of my, I had not a Hans device, but one of those head and neck restraints. He grabbed that. So, I mean, there was some small altercations.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
definitely got called a word, or, some interesting
got some
words.
I'm sure you did. Exactly. So interesting stuff. It really is a lot to talk about. And we'll continue conversation. And then Saturday night, continuing on, Danny Dietrich started, but we'll get a chance to talk to Danny a little bit later on. And then the dust out at Butler Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It was crazy. Hey, before we step away here real quick, let's go quickly through the Valco Racing Wheels results page. World of Outlaws, Terry McCarl and Donnie Schatz. All-Stars, it was Dale Blaney up at Butler. Bumper-to-bumper IRA Sprints, Billy Baylog scored the win. The Neil Tire Midwest Open Wheel Association was Jared Hall 3 times in a row. He's won. Other winners, Byron Reed, Danny Mau won twice. Mark Dobmeyer, Greg Hodnett, of course, Sean Becker, Chris Myers, Tim Kading won up at Badlands. Rodney Duncan won the Old Timers race at Fremont. Now, this was great. Okay, well, by the way, Craig Mintz won the regular race.
Yeah.
Rodney Duncan, Nathan Skaggs, other winners. Jack Hodenshield won at Sunday at Millstream. We have the whole Dietrich losing his mind on Twitter, going crazy, but then very typical Twitter. We've got comedian Danny Smith jumps in and says, "Hey, see where Rodney Duncan won the race of the old timers at Fremont? Ironically, I'm older than most of the old timers." So really, really good stuff that happened there. Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour kicked off their speed weeks with Sam Hafertepe. That is your Valco Racing Wheels results page. www.valco.com, VALHLCO.com. Doug Stringer joins us next. We're going to talk Jason Leffler. Stay with us, everyone.
Hi, I'm Rico Aber, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Classic Ink USA Screen Printing and Embroidery is constantly testing the limits of custom racewear and specialized embroidery. Headquartered in Western Pennsylvania, Classic Ink holds the highest standard, maximizing your return as well as the ultimate customer satisfaction. From track swag fanwear to quick crew wear, Classic Ink has you covered. Their dedicated staff and designers will keep your race team and fans looking sharp. Contact Classic Ink today and get your team ahead of the competition. www.classicinkusa.com. That's Classic Ink, at the track and on your back.
Racers, that's who Valco Wheels are. That's who they know, and racing is what they know. Valco Wheels focuses oval track and grassroots racing, and understand racers need a quality wheel that fits your budget. With over 25 years experience, Valco Wheels produces the best product and give you face-to-face support and customer service at the track. Fast delivery, innovative products, problem solving. Find Valco Wheels at Valco.com on Twitter or Facebook, or call Valco Wheels at 609-758-7013. Valco Wheels.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gordon. Did you know that 43 children are diagnosed with cancer each and every day? That more children die from cancer than any other disease? Athletes of all ages are dedicating their stats to change these stats, and you can too. Visit JeffGordonChildren'sFoundation.org to become a Kick It champion. No matter what sport, you can use your points, laps, or goals to change the odds for kids with cancer. Make your stats really count. Become a Kick It champion.
Hi, I'm Casey Kane. Now back to Wing Nation.
Thank you, Casey. Welcome back, everyone. We are having a great time. We're so glad you've joined us. You know, as we've traveled this motorsports journey from the dirt tracks into NASCAR and here to sprint car racing, it's been really cool because you meet some really cool people. And one of my all-time favorites, a guy by the name of Doug Stringer. And Doug was involved for years and years, still involved with the Great Clips program, and was involved with Casey Kane when he first got started in sprint car racing. Doug has gone on to pursue his dream of owning an NHRA drag team and doing so well with that. I just well up with pride in my friend for that. And Doug also a long-term relationship with the late Jason Leffler, and we figured on this third anniversary on Sunday of Jason's passing, be a good chance to call up Doug and touch base and see what's going on. So Doug Stringer joins us. Hello, Doug. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Steve. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. We appreciate you joining us. You know, we get to this time of the year, and then our social media starts to blow up with hashtag left turn and Jason Leffler thoughts and stories and pictures and everything. There's a lot of new Wing Nation fans that didn't know Jason Leffler. Just for those maybe that didn't know, or for those that do know, Jason, describe Jason to us and what he meant to you.
Well, as our relationship started out, it was Jason was a driver over at Todd Braun's nationwide team, and Todd and I merged our organizations and took Great Clips over there and started the 38 car over there with, Jason ended up driving it for us there. Prior to that, Jason had come up through the way up through the open wheel ranks, and I mean, same stair steps really that Casey took on his way up to the Sprint Cup Series. And of course, along the way, while Jason and I knew each other, he had a child with Allison, Charlie Dean, and watched him go from racer and young guy to a father and a dad in like 0.5 seconds, and really glad that I got to experience that part with him. Our racing experiences were probably more argumentative when we were together than we weren't. Jason, he was feisty in his drive and desire to win and lead everything that he was involved in life was something to say itself.
Doug, you hold a midget race every year in honor of Jason Leffler. Tell us a little bit about that.
Prior to Jason's passing, there was a little racetrack up here in Illinois called Wayne County Speedway, and it was ran by a club organization. And it came up for sale, and I ended up owning it, not really knowing what I was going to do with it, kind of set it aside. Really just kept thinking about what I was going to do with it, and then Jason passed away suddenly, and while I was there in Charlotte for those services, I thought, if I do one thing with that track once a year, it'll be just to get all these friends that were together at that time that were celebrating his life, get them back together once a year to do that again, and then run a midget race in his honor, and toss a little money towards Charlie Dean's trust to help him with his continued education with his life as it goes on. So that's how it came about.
So came about is a great idea and concept, but this thing has really kind of exploded on you into one of those must-see events. Tell us little details about what people can expect, when it is. Give us all the details on it, Doug.
Sure. The race itself is going to be October 20th. The night before the 20th, somewhere around town here, we have a function with a charity auction and a dinner and music and stuff like that. The race this year is going to be 40 laps, co-sanctioned event with PowerI and USAC. Both those sanctioning bodies are renowned across the United States, midget racing sanctioning bodies. In some schedules, you're going to see where it was scheduled for Friday night, but due to some conflicts with some of the drivers, we've had a lot of our midget drivers that have went up to the truck series, and that's actually Talladega weekend. So we thought about it, looked at the Outlaws schedule. I want to make it so that anybody that wants to race a midget can show up here and race it, and race for a chance to win $20,000. And we just want, from all walks of life, we want them to be able to bring their race car here and race without it being a conflict with their, regular racing profession. So that Thursday night, the Outlaws do not race. NASCAR doesn't race, of course. And no other midget series is racing that night. So we moved it to the Thursday night for that reason. And we're looking forward to getting a lot of the cars that have been here in the past. Our fields continue to grow. This year, actually, something we just announced recently is whoever wins the race will then come up on stage and draw from 100 envelopes, and in one of those envelopes is another $50,000.
Whoa.
So the winner could actually walk away with $70,000 if they pick the right envelope. Now, the kicker to that is he then is going to draw a ticket from our admission jars that everybody that buys a general admission ticket will put part of their ticket, tear off into the jar, and long and short of it is he's going to pull a number out. That spectator will then come down to the track and draw another envelope, and that spectator will have a chance to win the $50,000 bonus also.
Wow, that's incredible. Doug, who are some of the drivers that you might have show up this year? If you've put it on a nice date that everyone's kind of off that weekend, do you have some drivers already signed up?
Well, I know Darren Pittman will be here again. He's coming back He's coming back to try to take that winner's trophy away again. He won it, I believe it was 2 years ago. I know Brian Clausen is coming back. I've had some unique conversations with him over the past couple months as he got to run in the Indy 500, and that was really cool to watch him go over there and compete. And text him after the race because I knew that he got a ring and wanted to know if he was going to put it next to his Jason Leffler ring. And so we've had some good conversations. So, the Clausens, the Pittmans, the Zach Dahm will be back. Darren Hagen, I'm sure, will be back. We're hoping that Christopher Bell and Rico Eberu can make it here. But it's really hard to say. When we opened the gates last year, we had drivers from as far away as Australia, California. If they're free, they're usually here. But I know that as we continue to keep this on the schedule, they continue to start making it so they can be free to come race this event. It always is a sellout capacity. I think we put on an actual show, with fireworks, and it's fan friendly. And we try to get the races on and make them happen and make it so that the drivers can get on their way, down the road, and we just have a great night.
Man, I'll tell you what, it sounds really, really good. Thursday, August 20th is when it's going to be at the Wayne County Speedway in Illinois. What a great way to tribute Jason Leffler, getting everyone together, because I think that's what I didn't know Jason. I knew Jason more just as a reporter, but everyone that were kind of in his group, they all like to get together and maybe have a drink and just have fun.
Some tequila maybe.
Yeah, some tequila maybe. Yeah, exactly. So really, really cool. Doug, before I let you go, how's that little drag racing thing going you got going on with the NHRA? You doing all right with that?
Oh yeah, that's a pretty exciting venture for us with Clay Milliken, Parks Plus, and Great Clips. It was something that I wanted to do in my later years before I retired from racing, and Clay and Parks Plus came along, and Great Clips jumped on board, and of course David Grubnick's the crew chief on that, and it's a unique experience for me. Todd Braun and I both have went different directions in racing, and it's kind of funny because he'll come over to the drag races with me and hang out, and I'll go over to where him and his nephew are racing over in the K&N series or truck series and hang out, and it's just really different how all of our lives have evolved. And that goes back to the Leffler Memorial also. That night when you're here at that racetrack, the odds of you seeing a majority of the people that touched Jason's life throughout his racing career and throughout the times that when he was growing up are pretty likely. Everybody comes out here, you hear the different stories, you watch these guys race these midgets, and everybody references like racing with Jason, and it's a community function, it's a family function. It gives us a chance for our fraternity of the people in motorsports to come in and celebrate a life.
So exciting. It really is. And folks, here on Wing Nation, we'll talk about this as we get closer and closer and keep you reminded of this. It's one of those events that does not technically fall under Wing Nation, but it technically falls under great racing for a great driver that did experience some wing racing along the way, Jason Leffler, and just for a good guy, Doug Stringer, as well. Doug, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on all the success in this, and we look forward to Thursday night, October 20th, to see what it looks like. But thanks for the time.
Thank you, Stephen Kendra, and I can't wait, and I really look forward to seeing you guys at the racetrack this year. I understand you're going to make the trip, right?
Wow, I guess we're going to have to work on that then. Man, throws us. I'm sitting here thinking, though, but Thursday night before Talladega, that's possible. That's possible. So we just need to find the right friends with the right planes. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So
there will be a few coming up from Talladega, I can assure you.
Okay, well, we'll work on that. If that's the case, then, yeah, this gets a whole lot easier, that's for sure. Doug, appreciate the time, and thanks so much for just creating this event, a great memorial event for a great racer. Thanks again.
Thank you guys for your time. Have a great day.
There we go. That is Doug Stringer, one of the really good guys in the sport. As you can tell, folks, as you're listening along, heart is in the right place, passion for this sport, whether it's NASCAR racing, whether it's sprint car, midget, open wheel racing, or now his passion of drag racing is really, really cool, and great event. And I love that $70,000.
That's incredible.
potential.
It's a really neat idea.
It really is. I mean, that's really good. Yeah, that'll get some guys flying up from Talladega and everywhere else in the country.
Yeah,
so,
$20,000 to win for a midget race is
it's pretty
incredible
good.
as
Yeah,
it is.
exactly. We both laughed when he said Brian Clausen will be there. Well, of course, Brian Clausen will be there.
Of course
Yeah,
he'll be
of
there.
course Brian will be there.
A midget race. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's an off night. Let's see. I'll be there. Yeah. Great stuff. We appreciate Doug joining us, and we certainly wish him continued success in all of his racing endeavors. We need to step away. Another guy that has a lot of successful racing endeavors is National Sprint Car Hall of Famer Dale Blaney. He joins us next.
Winged Nation with Steve and Erin will return right after this on MRN.com.
Aggressive Hydraulics, where we engineer the cylinders that move your business. We specialize in crafting hydraulic cylinders and components with superior precision and performance, making OEM products stronger and creating more opportunities for distributors and repair facilities. Crafting cylinders that operate on a global basis in a wide variety of industries and applications. Get aggressive with your cylinder challenges. Aggressive Hydraulics.
O'Reilly. Father's Day is June 19th. If you're having a hard time deciding what to get, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts, where you'll find gift cards and hundreds of great Father's Day gifts. From tools to flashlights, O'Reilly Auto Parts has exactly what he wants. Get him something he'll use this Father's Day at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices, every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Victory Junction was young race driver Adam Petty's dream. He worked toward building a camp where children with serious medical conditions could concentrate on fun and not their illness or disease. When he died tragically, his family and friends around NASCAR made sure that dream came true. Today, Victory Junction is a camp that provides fun, life-changing experiences to children dealing with illnesses and disabilities, all at no cost to the camper. Help us serve more children by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Time now for a look at a great American dirt track presented by another great American dirt track, the Speed Palace, Port Royal Speedway.
This is Ashley Stremme. It hasn't been around long, but Attica Raceway Park in Attica, Ohio has hosted and continues to host the very best in traveling sprint car series. Attica Raceway Park opened in 1988. 2001 brought an ownership change as the legendary Eldora promoter Earl Boltis sold the Third Mile track to Brad Kaler and Charlie Fisher, who brought on John Boris as promoter of the track, a position he continues to hold to this very day. Attica hosts a strong weekly racing program and has hosted the strongest touring series, including the USAC CRA Sprints, World of Outlaws, All-Star Circuit of Champions, World of Outlaw Late Models, and Lucas Oil Late Models. This year, the Brad Doty Classic returns to Attica, and the first ever $10,000 to win Casey Kane Dirt Classic will be held at Attica. Mark Keegan is the all-time win leader at the track with 56 wins. Butch Schroeder has the one-lap track record with a time of 11.306 seconds, which was set September 7, 1998. Ohio Sprint Speed Weeks kicks off at Attica Raceway this Friday night as the best sprint car drivers in Ohio and around the region race 9 races in 9 days throughout the Buckeye State. Attica Raceway Park, a great American dirt track brought to you by another great American dirt track, the Speed Palace, Port Royal Speedway.
Man, that is good stuff. Ashley Stremme, of course, bringing us that, the pride and joy of Port Royal, but Attica Raceway Park, man, I'll tell you what a great racetrack.
It really is a great racetrack. I remember going there the first time. Everyone had me so intimidated before we even pulled into the parking lot because the cushion used to get, I don't know if it does still, but it used to get so high, and they would never grade it. So it would be like this 3-foot cushion. You know, you got 410 cubic inches, and to like manage that was extremely intimidating, but really racy track, like top to bottom. They always put on a good show. Great
racing, and looking forward to this Friday night when it kicks off for the All-Star Circuit of Champions for their Speed Week. Another guy that's always one of the drivers to beat when it comes to Attica joins us. Recent inductee into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, Dale Blaney's on the line. Hello, Dale. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing? I'm feeling good.
I bet. Well, you should be. You should be. Hey, we just talked a little bit about Attica, and that kicks it off for Speed Week. So you ready to go for the Tour of Ohio that you have coming up?
Yeah, I think so. Looking forward to it. Speed Week's always cool. fun. You get to see, 7 or 8 different racetracks and run some races. And I love every racetrack in Ohio, so it fits me really good. And yeah, just looking forward to getting going. Attica's always been good to us. I think I've been lucky enough to win at I think every one of these tracks we're going to. So we feel good going in. And but you never know what's going to happen night to night. You can get some momentum going, or you can have some bad luck happen, and it keeps on going. But just looking forward to getting after it on Friday.
Did they say 9 races in 9 days? Is that what the schedule says?
I think it's 8. It might be 8 and 9 days, or 7. It might be 7 and 8 days. We got a day off this year on Thursday, so
I love how you don't even know. That's awesome. It's next week and it's your schedule. You're like, meh.
All I know is we race on Friday at Attica. That's the first race, and my mind is set on that one.
So you had a big win this weekend. Let's hear about that.
Yeah, Butler is a neat place at times. It's really neat if you start on the front row. If you start anywhere beyond the front row, it's really, really hard to win there. It's a tough place. I mean, not one of my favorite racetracks. We had a lot of controversy going up there, but it's a cool racetrack. It's a neat shape. It's a great size racetrack, but they just need to do a little bit of work with the track and facility. And but overall, it was good. It's actually a good momentum booster heading into Speed Week. So hopefully we can keep rolling.
Yeah, the story up there at Butler was one lap into the feature, we had to take a little bit of a break because dust was so bad and everything else. So it was a challenge for you guys. But as Dale mentioned, he did come through and score the victory. Dale, a lot of times we're guilty as we talk about the All-Star Circuit of Champions, talking about it being Dale Blaney's series, because you've had so much success and well-earned success. But I am telling you what, you've got your hands full with a couple of these drivers this year. It looks like the competition level with the All-Stars is through the roof.
Yeah, no doubt. Kemenal he's running as well as he's had in a long time. They got a great team, and he's got a lot of confidence in running really good. And Sheldon's probably one of the most talented young kids in the country. Who's going to win a lot of races, and he's running really well. He's a factor every night. Holtgraver's running really good. He's gotten better and better here, and they're running more consistent, and they're going well. And there's a couple young kids. T.J. Michael's running really good. Craig Kinzer's, he's starting to run really good. He's not a fan of Ohio racetracks, I don't think by any means, but he's starting to become really consistent and going good, and he's going to start winning some races here. He won 1 or 2 at Speed Week. But, yeah, it's cool. We got a lot of young kids coming, and fun to race with them, and you never know who's going to show up at Speed Week. It'll be, there'll be a stacked field every night. So I think Dietrich will be there, and Larson and Rico and Macedo is going to be there a little bit. My brother's going to show up some, so it'll be fun, interesting. But yeah, we're running well, but we're still not very far ahead in points, and it's not a concern. But as long as we keep doing what we're doing, we'll be okay. But there's 2 or 3 of them chasing us pretty hard.
Dale, I want to talk about your recent induction into the Hall of Fame, which congratulations, first of all. And what did that mean to you? And I want to know how you managed to make it there for the ceremony.
Yeah. Well, it's weird feeling right now just because I feel like, I'm still racing the best I ever have. And I still feel like I'm a factor every night. And one more race in the past 2 or 3 years than I have, ever. I just got great, I'm in a great situation. I got a great car owner. George Fisher and I have been together for years and years, and we're just in a good situation racing-wise. But it's kind of weird because I feel like you should be retired from racing and done for 3 or 4 or 5 years and then get inducted. So it's kind of weird for me to feel like I'm inducted into the Hall of Fame right now while I'm still racing so good. It's just a weird feeling. Trust me, I'm privileged and honored to be there, no doubt about it. Especially, with my brother and my father being there, it makes it even more special. But yeah, getting out there and back was tough, but it all worked out. And Holbrook, my owner, made all the arrangements, and Jack Elam helped us get out there, and it was special to get out there. And if it wasn't for Janet, pushing me to get out there, I probably wouldn't have, and she was the main reason.
Really, really cool. So much good stuff going on, Dale. We appreciate spending a little time with you here today, and look forward to catching up with you. I'm actually going to see you this week, Friday and Saturday. Going to head north and catch up with you guys, and look forward to watching you guys race on Friday and Saturday night. But appreciate the time. Congratulations on all the success, the Hall of Fame induction, all the wins, and we'll look forward to writing more chapters to that Hall of Fame career, though, as we continue on. But thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks. I hope I got at least 2 more chapters.
Okay, well, there we go. Is that 2 more years, 2 more chapters, or don't you know?
You figure it out.
Wow, there we go.
I think we just dropped a big hint on us.
I think so. Well, Dale, we appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
You got it, bud. Thank you.
There we go. That is Dale Blaney joining us here. 2 more chapters.
Yeah. Interesting.
What does that mean, folks? That's good. Hey, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, Dale, one of the most recent inductees, and they continue with the Expand the Dream program. You can find out more information at sprintcarhof.com. That's www.sprintcarhof.com. One of the things we highlight here, some birthdays. Sunday, Albert Pappy Booker. Wednesday, Johnny Anderson, and Wednesday, tomorrow, is Brian Clausen's birthday. You know he's going to celebrate?
He's going to race.
Yeah, he's going to race somewhere. I don't know where. I mean, but it's a day.
Yeah.
So if it's a day, he's going to race, let alone a birthday. That's Chevy Clausen's dad, by the way, for those of you not familiar. Joe Scalzo, Thursday, J.C. Agajanian, Steve Buzz Gregory, Don Basile, and Saturday, Tim Green, Rocky Hodges, and hell no, Greg Hodnett. Hodnett, okay, good news, folks. He's getting older. There we go. There's your good news on the Hodnett front, is he's getting older. The bad news is we just had a Hall of Famer say, as he's gotten older, he's getting better.
Yes.
And it looks like it's the same. Yeah, it looks like it might be the same for Hodnett there. So Greg Hodnett birthday on Saturday. Again, www.sprintcarhof.com. More information about the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. And a really, really cool Speed Week's going to be so much fun with Ohio and then rolling into Pennsylvania. I can't imagine the work involved in it, but Dale Blaney's had so much success. It's got to be really cool to say, hey, every one of those racetracks, I've won it before.
I know, seriously. And I really love how he was like, he didn't even know what he's racing next week. He's like, 7 or 8 nights. I don't know. It's awesome.
That's the reason for the success, is because you're not fired up about Waynesfield, which is the second night.
Yeah.
You're not worried about Waynesfield. Attica.
Well, it is the cool part about sprint car racing. I think I've talked about it before. Is like you're racing so much that you can't get caught up on one race or one event. I mean, granted, if the momentum swings one way or the other, it hurt. But I just love that, and it kind of brought me back to my sprint car days. Hearing him say, like, I don't know, like that's how I would have been. Now I'm like, I got to know what I'm doing in August. Like I'm totally different now than when I was racing full time.
And I think now that's the driver aspect of it. Now George has probably done a little planning. Yeah, George, I'm sure, has done a little bit of planning. George Fisher, his longtime partner, crew chief on that whole operation. So great stuff. Looking forward to the Articat All-Star Circuit of Champions All-Star Ohio Speed Week coming up. We need to step away. When we come back, Danny Dietrich, he joins us next.
Hey, this is Donnie Schatz, and you're listening to Kendra and Steve on Wing Nation, here on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Saturday night at Port Royal Speedway, it's Moonshine Camo Night with the Appalachian Mountain Dirt Late Model Speed Week Series going 40 laps for $4,000 to win. Plus, the Super Sprint Cars in the Blockbuster program caps off with an Extreme Stock feature. Admission is just $22, with students 12 to 18 just $7. Port Royal Speedway, located between State College and Harrisburg in central Pennsylvania, just off of US Route 322 along PA Route 75. Visit PortRoyalSpeedway.com for details or follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
O'Reilly. Restore lost fuel economy and eliminate rough idle with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner and get 1 free. Clean clogged injectors and increase fuel efficiency with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Buy 2, get 1 free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The 25th year of the Lucas Oil American Sprint Car Series is about to begin.
Expanded national and regional tours, over 150 events across the United States, and some of sprint car racing's biggest names and rising stars.
The 25th anniversary of the Lucas Oil ASCS is one you don't want to miss. Find out when the American Sprint Car Series is near you in 2016 at ASCSRacing.com. Find us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter,
and catch all the action away from the track live at RacingBoys.com.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gordon, and now back to Wing Nation.
Thank you, Jeff. We are having so much fun here on MRN Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tire. We need to go back to the Hercules hotline, and joining us as one of the great Classic Inc. drivers as well. Erin, I love being at the racetrack, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Being at the racetrack is the best place to be. But when we have nights like Saturday night, when things start to happen and it all starts to cut loose, and then the ultimate thing for me is when Danny Dietrich starts going on Twitter, I just want to pop some popcorn, grab a frosty beverage, and sit down and hang out because it's always good. The always opinionated, always very passionate, and the absolute lover of sprint car racing, Danny Dietrich's on the line. Hello, Danny. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Steve.
Well, what's going on, man? What's happening in your world?
Oh, we're just getting ready for a big 2 weeks of racing for us. We're about ready to kick off Ohio and PA Speed Week, and we got a lot of work to do to get ready for that yet.
I am sure, and I certainly want to talk about that because I love what your schedule looks like for the next 2 weeks. Of course, I don't have to do it; I can sit and watch it and laugh at you guys traveling around and watching weather and everything else. But Danny, honestly, and we've chatted so many times. Saturday night, you certainly stirred up the sprint car world, as you tend to do every once in a while, when you got on Twitter and just had some opinions about some things going on in Central Pennsylvania. If you could, without getting into the specifics, is there an overriding complaint, issue, frustration that you're having right now with the way things are up there?
There is. There's a lot of things going on in Lincoln that I feel, and a lot of people feel needs to change. A lot of the tracks around here are doing a really good job with promoting the races and taking care of the drivers and the owners. More so than what we've dealt with in years past, believe it or not. I think with Steelers Grove and Susky and Williams Grove and Port, they're all doing a fantastic job. It's just gotten to the point now where we go to Lincoln and things are, it's not so much the way the show's being put on as much as you get treated going through the gate, and mainly the officiating, it's just become an issue. We show up Saturday night and we're at the drivers' meeting, and one of the first things that our head flagman always says is, the start line, we go at the start line, come off turn 4. And there's a big, everybody goes to Lincoln knows there's a big white chalk line going across the track. And for some reason, it all depends who you are as far as where you can go. And you can go as far back as what seems like the middle of 3 and 4, about 100 yards before the line, if you're the right person. And Saturday was a big paying event. That Adams Investments put up a lot of hard-earned hours as far as putting that deal together. And, to feel like we had a pretty good time trial. We feel like we got cheated out on the start of the heat race. And it's just been something that's been going on for a while, and just kind of had enough of it,
I think I read somewhere in your Twitter rant about them not using the grader. What was that comment about?
Well, there's been a problem with Lincoln for the last, I'm going to say almost a year now. The end of last season, it was getting a little bit bad. This year's been real bad. They must not have a grader that works, that drops the blade, because, you go to the track. The racing at Lincoln has been probably the worst racing in this area, believe it or not. From many fans I talk to, that's just not the driver's standpoint. That's if you talk to fans, here or there. And it's got to show, because you look at the grandstands, there's not as many people in the grandstands at Lincoln as what we're used to seeing. And the top of the track just falls off, the banking goes away, and I think that's what's killed me and Brian Montice a little bit, because we've had a setup that was so good, running on the banking and being able to run up on the fence. And we both have really struggled at Lincoln this year just because the track is just a different shape and really lacks racing just due to the way that it's been laid out.
When you have a situation like this, and I noticed in some of your comments, particularly on Saturday night, is it's kind of a challenge because you have your frustration with Lincoln Speedway, but yet we have the folks, the Adams folks, for Adams Investment, just putting on this great show. How do you because you were running for $7,000 to win, and face it, Danny, you know as well as I do, most sprint car racers in the country are not a Saturday night show running for $7,000 to win. So how do you balance the downside of wrestling with the folks at Lincoln with the upside of the folks that work with Lincoln to put on that show?
Well, it's real clear. The problems we're having are strictly with the track. And when I say we're having, there's a lot of guys that are frustrated with the track itself. I'm just the one who speaks out for it. You know, the guy that wins isn't going to complain. You know, they're never going to complain, and I probably wouldn't complain either. But you know, when you get situations like we've been in, you just got to make sure that the track's responsible for what has happened and what happened on Saturday. You know, Adam's Investments, Jared and Justin, they've done a heck of a job. You know, over the last 3-4 years, I think it's 3 now that we've done this race, and we couldn't ask any more for them, and we're really appreciative to have them in the sport. It's just a shame that when you go to the track that they have this event at, you know that you're limited to the amount of racing you're going to see. That's all what it comes down to right now. We're going to go to the track and race for $20,000 later in the year, thanks to them, and the stats have proven right now this year that it's going to come off the front 2 rows more than likely. And I don't think the fans really necessarily want to see a race that a guy only wins running passing 2 cars, you know, or 1 car, because there's only been 1 race won from outside the top 2 rows, and that was Monteith the other week. You know, he won from 12th, but everything else has been won from the front row or second row of the features this year, which is very unusual if anybody knows Lincoln Speedway.
Danny, do you ever have any social media remorse? I know myself, in the heat of the moment, sometimes I've tweeted something, and once it's out there, and I'm like, oh, man, I really shouldn't have said that. I should have waited a minute. Do you ever feel that way?
Not usually. There's been a couple times. Usually the only time I ever feel that way is when it's probably I'm not sitting in my house. I'm probably sitting on a bar stool somewhere, and then you know, you say something, and then about 30 seconds later, you think, I better delete that. You know, but you know, I don't take back what I said on Saturday night. None of it. Lincoln needs to open their eyes up. Alan Kreitcher's a pretty good guy, and I know he's part of the promoting, you know, part of the people involved with Lincoln, and there's just some really big issues that they have to cure, you know, and one of them is getting everybody on a level playing field. You know, there can't be any favoritism with, you know, how many laps are complete because 1 car isn't in the show yet, or where's the start line even going to be? You know, I mean, everywhere we go, Williams Grove, Port Royal, the World of Outlaws, the All-Stars, you know, you start at the line. I mean, that's all there is to it on these starts, and nowadays with the formats that we have, Saturday night, the start of our heat races were everything. You know, we had to win the heat race, myself, because we timed 7th, which we went out late and timed really well, but we had to win the heat. And starting 3rd, we had a shot until they dropped the flag, or dropped the green, so to say, and we're sitting 5th or 6th by the time we get to the white chalk line where we're actually supposed to be just going, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just frustrating.
Yeah, I'm sure. I am sure. You mentioned sitting on a bar stool. Well, Danny, there's no bar stool sitting for you over the next couple of weeks. What is the agenda going forward? What's the game plan? What's the next 2 weeks of your life look like? No bar stools, I'm sure.
No, very busy. We'll be drinking lots of water and trying to stay hydrated. I just looked up the weather for Ohio out there, and it looks like it's going to be high 80s and sunny for what looks like most of the week. Next week's what they're calling for, so that's a good thing. Hopefully we can go there. Last year, we've been there last 2 years. First year went well. Last year we struggled a little bit, but hopefully we can go there, get some good pill draws, and be able to capitalize on such a good event. You know, you go to the track every night and it pays 5,000 to win, 1,000 for 10th. You know, there's nothing to complain about there. So more chances to race, and 16 races possibly in 17 days, and we'll be busy. We're really looking forward to it.
So the game plan, correct me if I'm wrong on this, it's Williams Grove Friday, is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
And then to Ohio, running Ohio Speed Week through Wednesday, is that correct? And then back to Susquehanna?
Yes. All depends on Thursday, where we're at. If there's a rain out in Ohio, if they reschedule on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday's one of the things where it's very up in the air. You know, if we got the snot bee out in Ohio, we might just take Thursday off yet too. You know, it's not part of PA Speed Week, so that gives us the option of what we're going to do. And then we'll fire back up on Friday at the Grove and run all PA Speed Week.
That's fantastic, Danny. We had shared earlier this year. You had talked about working with our friends out at Maxim because your situation with your height. You worked on a new design of a chassis, and at some point you made the decision to kind of go back to where you were at last year. How would you assess where your team is at? And you know, I mean, to me, what I'm seeing is it looks like, man, there's sometimes it's bad fast, and there's other time you're struggling. Is that accurate, or what are you guys working on?
for the most part, we got some pretty good speed. You know, we have had pretty much no luck whatsoever.
Yeah,
you know, it's been a little frustrating on our end. You know, we Saturday we go and we set a good time trial lap. You know, late in time trials, we were one of the only cars to go in the 13-second bracket, and almost timed too good. It took us off the front row of the heat. You know, and we've had a lot of speed. We are a few races behind, I think, compared to everybody else with the new tire and the wicker bills and stuff from trying that new Maxim. But we're right there. We just need some things to fall in our hands here a little bit. You know, we've gotten a lot of rainouts, and the nights where we have raced, you know, like Williams Grove, they were fighting rain, and it hasn't produced a lot of passing. But props to them for getting the shows in. You know, you don't see that every day. You know, but it's just one of them things where we just need a little bit of luck, and you know, the times we have had the opportunity to maybe capitalize on the front row spot, we've missed it, and that's our fault. But, you know, the more or less, we just need to get a little more luck to put ourselves in that position a little more often lately.
Yeah. Well, the good news is you're going to try it 16 times or so over the next 2 or 3 weeks. So, and that's the thing, and that's the beauty of sprint car racing. It's like Erin has talked about so many times. You can't dwell in the past because you can win the next race, and it changes the past. So,
yeah. That's
really
what happened to us last year. You know, to us, we just need to keep racing because we know we're a little behind now, so we need to, you know, to race every day is really going to help our team, I think, right now, just because of the way we are running. You know, if we could go out there and run, you know, if we can run 3 out of 5 in the top 5 out in Ohio, you know, that'd be like winning for us. We just need we need a little confidence booster. We need to race a little more just to get things rolling.
I love it. I really do. Danny, as always, appreciate your time. Can't wait to catch up with you this weekend at Waynesfield on Saturday night and watch your race and then Speed Weeks. But thanks for the time and sharing your observations and opinions. As always, we appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you.
There we go. That's Danny Dietrich. You want to know what he thinks? Ask.
Hey, you know, I would rather that than have someone that doesn't tell you the truth or, you know, beats around the bush.
Right.
You get it straight from him.
Exactly. No doubt about it. So very interesting stuff, as always, from Danny Dietrich. We need to step away. More MRN Wing Nation presented by I'm all brain faded here. Hercules, yes, exactly. I know, Craig. I've got it written right in front of me here. I mean, I just can't say it. I can see it, but I can't say it. Presented by our friends at Hercules Tire. We appreciate those folks so much. We need to step away, and we'll be back in just a moment.
I'm Shane Stewart, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa.
Honoring sprint car racing's greatest achievers.
25 historic sprint cars on display. A movie theater featuring sprint car racing films. And a breathtaking view of historic Knoxville Raceway. Go to SprintCarStuff.com for the largest sprint car gift shop on the planet. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Friday nights, it's all sprint cars. Saturday nights, it's IMCA modifieds and stock cars. Both nights is affordable family fun for the entire family. Witness incredible speeds, awesome power, and great side-by-side action at the all-new Jackson Motorplex. Be there this Friday night as the Spirit Lake Silver and Gold and SL410 sprint cars return, along with Elastic 360s and Race Saver 305 sprinters. Hot laps at 7:30 with racing to follow. Saturday night, it's AGCO night featuring IMCA modifieds and stock cars. Hot laps at 7 o'clock, then the racing begins. Kids 12 and under are always free at the all-new Jackson Motorplex in Jackson, Minnesota. Be there.
This is Winged Nation on MRN.com. Now, back to Steve Post and Erin Evernham.
Great to talk with our drivers like Dale Blaney and Danny Dietrich. One of the other things they have in common, other than they'll be running part of Ohio Speed Week, is they both choose to use classic ink, screen printing and embroidery for all their t-shirt, sweatshirt, hoodie, towels, needs, all of their items that they use. You can find out more information, classicinkusa.com. Brian and the gang there just do a great job. It's www.classicinkusa.com. Find out why guys like Dale Blaney and Danny Dietrich choose Classic Ink. Time for our Jeff Gordon Kick It Person of the Week, and this one is really cool. She is a 358 racer in central Pennsylvania. Ashley Capetta is her name. She's from East Berlin, Pennsylvania. Now, she is also, beyond racing, she is a volunteer firefighter at the Prince George's County Fire EMS. And she was recently honored by the Make-A-Wish Truck Convoy of Wishes Foundation or organization up in central Pennsylvania. They do a truck convoy raising money for Make-A-Wish. And Ashley was one of the volunteers to help with that. So, and she races 358s.
My kind of girl.
Yeah, absolutely. So our Jeff Gordon's Kick It Person of the Week is Ashley Capetta, a 358 racer in central Pennsylvania, for all of her great off-track work, whether it be a volunteer firefighter or with the Make-A-Wish Truck Convoy of Wishes in organization up in Pennsylvania. It is Speed Week season. I'm going to do my own Speed Weeks.
That's cool. Where are you headed?
Where I'm headed to is I'm going to take off Friday, and I'm going to go to Attica and then stay over and go to Waynesfield Raceway Park. So I'm going to have the first 2 nights of Ohio Speed Week. Have to come home for Father's Day. I would love to go to Millstream. Millstream was one of the original plans, but
you couldn't talk the girls into going?
Well, I couldn't talk the girls into going, and then, with just Monday and everything else, because the following week, I leave on Thursday. I'm going to go to Susquehanna, Williams Grove, Lincoln, and then the party at the Path.
That's a cool schedule.
I think it's 6 races in 10 nights. It's not as much as Dietrich. I understand that. I'm not Danny Dietrich, okay? But I think it's 6 races in like 9 or 10 nights.
That's pretty
I'm
good.
really excited about it. So really, really cool. So I'm
you're
looking
coming
forward
from
to
North Carolina. You're not just
well,
on
and
the
I'm not in one of these hotbeds like Pennsylvania where you got to drive 10 minutes to get to a sprint car race. You know, I mean, it's an 8.5 hour ride, I think, up to Attica. But I can't wait to get up there. Looking forward to it. Really, really cool. When we look at the week coming up, we were supposed to have 3 races tonight. Then the Lucas Oil ASCS Tour got rained out at Devil's Bowl. We're down to 2. And then the World of Outlaws, they're rained out. They're postponed to tomorrow night. So our friends at New Egypt with URC, it's all you guys. It's all you guys, URC. I think.
Hell no.
Yeah, I think Hell No is putting the 360 in too, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be following along tonight at New Egypt. Balance of the schedule: the Sizzling Summer Sweepstakes for the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour continues Wednesday night, Lawton Speedway, Lawton, Oklahoma. Thursday night, Creek County Speedway in Sapulpa, Oklahoma. Friday night, Missouri State Fairgrounds in Sedalia, Missouri. And it rounds up Saturday night, Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri. World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Cars, man, this is always a good one. River City Speedway, and then Sunday is Brown County Raceway in Aberdeen, South Carolina. The Arctic All-Star Circuit of Champions, Ohio Speed Week, Friday, Attica. Saturday, Waynesfield. Sunday, Millstream. Monday, Wayne County. We'll tell you the rest of it next week on Tuesday. National Sprint League, they have a triple header. Jackson Motorplex on Friday night. Of course, a big night up at Jackson. Knoxville Raceway on Saturday. Mason City Motor Speedway on Sunday. King of the West is at the Stockton Dirt Track. MOA Series is at Bloomington, Indiana on Friday night. Bumper to Bumper IRA Sprints are at Plymouth Dirt Track in Sheboygan on Saturday and at Angel Park on Sunday, and there is a boatload of weekly 410 racing as well. My gosh, it is summertime. There's no doubt about it. Wing Nation Weekend presented by Hefner Racing Products Thursday. That will be up and at it. We're going to talk to the driver of the Arctic Cat car, Craig Kinzer. So get his take on what Dale Blaney says maybe not some of his favorite tracks.
Yeah, those short, slick tracks.
Yeah.
Tough.
Well, he's going to get a dose of them. He's going to get a snootful of them.
A bunch.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to talk with Craig Kinzer. And then Saturday on MRN Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit on MAV TV, T-Mac. Oh, boy, another one. Do you want to know what he's thinking?
Yeah, I was just
Ask
thinking
him.
that. Another one that won't be afraid to share his thoughts.
Not afraid to share his thoughts. Terry McCarl, and he joins Ashley Strummy and I on MAV TV. That is 9:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. MRN.com has all your sprint car and racing news. You can follow along on Twitter at Wing Nation. We have been very busy on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wing Nation. Now, it's our page, not our group. There's a group. I'm probably the one knucklehead that set the thing up wrong. And there's a group, and I know some of you post on the group and stuff like that, but the page is where the stuff is at, facebook.com/Wing Nation. And again, you can find all of the information at there with what's going on within Wing Nation. So I think, let's see, we came into this with a long bucket list to talk about. Boy, I think we covered a lot of ground, Erin.
We did. We talked fast.
We did talk fast, exactly. We talked fast, and we kept on going. Hey, Slinging Dirt with the Stremmies is coming up. Keeping Up with the Stremmies is what we call it around here. That's coming up next here on MRN.com. Thanks to our guests for joining us, Doug Stringer, Dale Blaney, and Danny Dietrich. More important than all of that, thank you for joining us here on Wing Nation.
You've been listening to the nation's premier winged sprint car radio program, Winged Nation. Tune in next Tuesday at noon for more talk from the dirt tracks. Winged Nation is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. Winged Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.